YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And today I got my safety rankings for the 2021 NFL Draft. I've done all the positions now. It's the last one. We got a big board in the works, top 50 or so players. We got all their content leading up to the NFL Draft, so really excited about that. Different types of mock drafts, rumors, videos. And then we'll have you covered throughout and after the NFL Draft with winners, losers, grades. Day 2 mock draft after day 1. So hopefully you can join us for all that. Subscribe, follow our Twitter, an absolute must follow, especially for this time of year. And check out walkthemock.com. If you sign up, make sure you use code GOATHOUSE. Any link that you're looking for, pin in the comments. Here's our Twitter, posting more polls like this. We're going to go through every position group just to get your guys' opinion. We got a fan voted mock draft going on as well. We're always tweeting stuff like that. Breaking news, we're tweeting it out. Any rumors, we're tweeting it out. Make sure you follow us at GOATHOUSE NFL. And all these rankings are on one page. You actually could save these graphics too. If you're part of our Patreon tier 3 or higher, I will have a spreadsheet for everyone, free for everyone, with all my rankings, even more than I rank on these videos with grades. And that will be tweeted out a day or two before the draft. So you can make sure you follow our Twitter for that. Superlatives for the safeties. Best true free safety. I'm going to go Andre Cisco. It is a battle between a few guys. Best strong safety, I'm going to go Deablo from Virginia Tech. And the reason I didn't put Moehrig or Holland in there, because they kind of play all over the place. It's going to really depend on which team they go to. Moehrig is a very good split safety. He played strong. He played free. It's really going to depend on which team takes him. He played in the slot as well. So it's really going to depend on which team takes him there, obviously, what scheme. Best in the slot, going to go Javon Holland. He in 2019, last time he played a lot of snaps in the slot, dominated there. Best athlete, it's definitely a debatable here. A lot of good athletes. Dark Forest from Cincinnati. They had a pretty good safety duo. He's a freak athlete, along with his duo, James Wiggins, who's in the draft as well. Best tackler, I'm going to go Trevon Moehrig. Really flies up, attacks the run or the ball underneath very well, wraps up, tackles. He improved his tackling game this past year. Best attacking the ball, I'm going to go Javon Holland. Whether the ball's in the air or if it's on the ground in a ball carrier's arms, and factor in he has to shed blockers as well. Holland checks all those boxes, so that's what I really like about him. Best playmaker, going to go with Cisco from Syracuse. Some really good playmakers, but Cisco, when the ball's in the air, he really knows how to attack it. Best blitzer, Jamar Johnson. A lot of teams like to use safeties in different unique ways. You look at Jamal Adams, a dominant blitzer. Jamar Johnson is a free safety that can come up and blitz at a very high level. Best instincts can go Javon Moehrig, mainly kind of in the run or underneath game. He kind of starts moving, pre-snap, starts moving exactly where the ball is going to be, or right when it's snapped, he sees the quarterback, goes right where it's going to be. Boomer bust, going to go Andre Cisco. Got an insanely high ceiling, pretty low floor because his strengths and weaknesses and a recent injury. But most upside, Jamar Johnson doesn't have a lot of reps. Wasn't a starter for that long of a time. Indiana didn't really know what exact position he was at first. They figured out he's a free safety that can come up, and blitz from time to time, and it kind of stuck with him, so he has a lot of upside. Sleeper, I'm going to go James Wiggins from Cincinnati. He's got a really good tape. He's got quite a few injuries in the past. I think if it wasn't for the injuries, we'd be hearing his name a lot more, but he's very talented. Split safety, like him better at free. Deep sleeper, maybe not super deep, but no one's really talking about Sean Davis, probably because he's an undersized free safety. But the undersized part doesn't really show when he's attacking the ball, attacking a ball carrier. He's pretty damn talented. Could be better in the pros there. My number one safety is going to be Javon Moehrig from TCU. He can play strong or free. Was more of a split safety for TCU, but I like him either one. He's kind of got the body type in the range as a free safety. But where he stands out most and where his strengths are, almost say it says strong safety, but it's good. That he can play either. Maybe a cover 2 scheme is where he's best suited for. More teams running that cover 2. But yeah, very versatile. We talked about it. He has snaps at strong, free, slot, corner. Attacks the ball very well, mainly when it's already in a ball carrier's hands or it's underneath a screen pass, a slip screen. Fantastic. Pass deflection machine, comes up and doesn't get his hands on the ball for interceptions as much as you would like, but he's always coming up, bringing the hammer, forcing that ball out of a receiver's or whatever's hands there. So very good at that. He's consistent in that category. I think he's equally effective in man and zone coverage, so that's fantastic. Fantastic tackler. Got better this past year. Still definitely needs to work on his angles, though. Pretty instinctive. He just seems like he flies to where the ball is about to be, which is fantastic. Why passing him? He played more slot than anything this year, which actually is interesting, and it's interesting because everyone that you talk to about Trevon Moehrig here, they say free safety. He's going to be a free safety. They compare him to, I've seen Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons. Body type and I guess range, I'm on board with that. But he played over 300 snaps this year at slot corner, and then he played over 150 at strong safety, and then not too far off, but 140-ish at free safety, third on the list at free safety. So is he really a free safety? Will a team draft him for that if they're looking for a free safety? Maybe they'd rather take somebody else, a true free safety, wait for that guy maybe. So I'd say not so fast. And all those people that are saying, oh, he's a free safety, single high, he can be. That's why he's versatile and he's good. But yeah, I'd say not so fast there. And he actually had better coverage reps in 2019 where he played more free safety. But overall, he had a better season in 2020 where he actually had more reps in the slot. So you could say, is he just a slot player? I don't think so, but maybe there's some risk with that. Inconsistent with the tackling angles. We're kind of come up too far and then the runner will go by. Saw a little more of that in 2019 versus 2020, so did improve that. But when he's in the act of tackling, he's a pretty damn good tackler, like we said. He looks longer than he actually is, too, 6 foot, but he does have the wingspan. So I thought that was interesting. I thought he would come in at around 6'1" or around there. Number 2, I'm going to go Javon Holland. Also could play strong or free or slot corner. It's the same. He's almost the same as Trevon Moehrig in terms of style of play. Pretty much the same. Slightly lower grade on him. I do think opting out affected that. If Holland played this year and play at the level of Moehrig, it'd be tough to split those guys up. Maybe he could have played better, but yeah, we'll kind of go into why, it's a little more risky, I'd say. But he's a versatile DB, has reps at strong, free, in the slot. Same thing. Very good tackler. My favorite thing is the way he takes on blocks. Sometimes you just go hard. You go try to blow by the block or blow through the block. And sometimes you just don't focus. You see him, but you don't focus. You go straight to the runner. And sometimes you need to mirror the blocker and wait for the right time. He knows exactly when to do all of those things. It really stands out. Rare that college defensive backs know how to handle that. So that really stands out to me. Attacks the ball extremely well. We talk about it through the air, but I think even more so on the ground, which compares to Moehrig as well. A lot of similarities here. Just flies to the ball. He wants to tackle people. I love that. Here's an interesting part, very risky. Doesn't have a ton of reps at a single position. First year at Oregon, he played more free safety, back end. He made plays back there. He looked pretty good. I'm like, okay, this is a future free safety to watch for. 2019, he plays more slot than anything, but he also plays quite a bit of strong. He's in the box a bit, dropping back, barely plays any free safety compared to the previous year. So what is the reason for that? I don't know. He's good at either one. That's the good thing. But we haven't seen him enough at a single position to say, yes, that's his position. Moehrig's, he went to different spots as well, but I think we've seen him enough throughout the years at each spot to know. We haven't really seen enough of Holland, but we've seen enough to know that he's a baller. We know that. But it is a little risky. It's just really tough to judge where he fits. I've heard some teams like him at free safety more. I've heard some teams like him, just purely slot. Some teams at strong safety. I think the riskiest thing probably just to make him a pure free safety, like single high. I don't know if I see that. He looked good in 2018 there, but there's not enough there. Why did they switch him too? Because they could maybe. It's a little tough, but he's a heck of a ball player. Again, really stands out the way he takes down blocks and how he flows to the football. This is where it gets really, really tight, and it's a little risky of me to put this guy this high. Andre Cisco, free safety. He's a true free safety from Syracuse, even though he has reps out of free safety. I got him round 3. There is a lot to just love about Andre Cisco. We've talked about him in the past. He's probably the ultimate boom or bust prospect, in this class. He has elite playmaker moments. Elite, yes, like first round, like top 10 moments, really, as a free safety, attacking the ball, making plays. He just has tremendous instincts and sometimes on the instincts, ball skills, tremendous ball skills. So why, if you're saying he's that good, this should go this high if we're talking about this category, the rest needs a lot of work. He has some pretty bad moments at the same time. So that's why it's pretty risky having him this high and for a team taking him. He's just such a natural in the back end attacking the ball. He only played 2 games this year. Was looking improved. It's a small sample size, but falling out of my seat talking about Andre Cisco. Small sample size, but he looked improved. He looked legit. He looked really, really good. I really wish we saw more. He tore his ACL actually in a pregame before the 3rd game, I believe he was about to play. So that's tough. So he recently tore that ACL. So maybe that's a reason to maybe pass on him for now as well. But great athlete, very long, athletic, change of direction's great. When the ball's in the air, he's going to go attack it. He could be, if he can figure out the negatives, he can be one of the best playmaking free safeties in the NFL. He really could. He can lead the NFL in interceptions. It's very possible at a young age. So that's like what you love about him. But he takes some pretty bad angles when tackling and in coverage. He'll very easily bite on pretty much anything. He wants to jump every route. So, yeah, he blew some coverages. He blew some tackles because he'll come way up or just take a bad angle. He can tackle, though. I think I've been up and down on him, and then I think I kind of talked myself into putting him at number 3, is that he can tackle. It's not like he can't tackle. He's got some bad angles, but sometimes he'll fly up and it looks good. He'll wrap around, right below the knees or right around the ankles. He makes a pretty damn good tackle. It looks good. They were using him in different ways in this year as well. There'd be random reps where they come and put him in the box. And it looked pretty good there as well, even though I do think he's a true free safety. So there's some really good things about Andre Cisco, and there's some really bad things. And pretty much in the same exact boat is Jamar Johnson from Indiana. I have him in the same range. There was a really early time where I thought Cisco could be a late first, early second, and then I see the full tape. We don't just watch the highlights. Full tape, full snaps from every a lot of games, and you start to see, okay, there's some bad moments. Let's knock him down. But then we can maybe fix that. Maybe the right team can fix that. So I put him back up a little bit. Jamar Johnson was the same thing. As soon as I watched him, I'm going, wow. See, I see the big moments. I go, wow. You start to come down a little bit because you do see the negatives here. But he's got a ton of upside. A lot of upside. He had a really good game, really good playmaking game, especially against Justin Fields, which was fantastic. Gave him a hard time there in the back end. But he's right there with Cisco in terms of his playmaking ability. He reads the quarterback well. He tacks the ball through the air well, I should say. He has experience in the box and slot as well. He is a free safety, but he can come up. He blitzes pretty well. But again, I think the upside is there because he's kind of just getting going. He just doesn't have a whole bunch of experience, and he looks like kind of a natural ball hawk in the back end. He is a pretty reckless tackler. Like, he'll fly up and all that him flying up towards the ball, taking the right angle, that looks good. That looks good. But he just launches his body at the ball carrier, whether it's a running back or a receiver after they catch the ball. He launches his body and puts his head down, and a lot of times he makes the tackle. But it's not going to fly in the NFL. So I don't know if that could be fixed. Perhaps it could be. Give him to calm down a little bit, and then he can be special. We could be talking about him end up being the best safety from this class. The difference between Johnson and Cisco, I think Cisco is a little bit more of a playmaker, a better playmaker. They're both great playmakers. Johnson will take better angles than Cisco. Cisco actually can tackle form-wise better than Johnson. Cisco is going to be a better athlete. So you try to find something that splits them up. They're pretty much getting this. It's weird because Moehrig and Holland are pretty much getting the same takes from me. And then the next two, Cisco and Johnson, pretty much getting the same takes from me. He was arrested in 2018, tried to flee the police, is from what I've heard. So that can't be good as well. But a phenomenal ball player with some upside there. Number 5, who's kind of got a mixture of a little bit of the group of 2 and then the group of the next 2. But Richie Grant from Central Florida, another, he's right there with them. I like him better at free safety. There's some people talking about strong and playing the slot. I'm not a big fan of that. Maybe he can. But I like him more at free safety. Deep downfield is where he is best, kind of with his range, attacking the ball. Exactly what angle to attack. Got better as a tackler this past year. Was kind of reckless before, so kind of like Jamar Johnson. He was like that at one point, and he actually was able to tone it down and fix it. So maybe Jamar Johnson can do that. But he's a really good playmaker. Looked to improve every single season in kind of every category. Looked really good at the Senior Bowl. He's a really good ball tracker, almost like he's a receiver at times. I think he's much better of a zone guy for sure. You know, the other guys are pretty evenly good in both. Average speed. I think Jamar Johnson's a little better of an athlete, but they're both kind of just average in the speed. Pretty inconsistent tackler, you know, kind of will let some slip away, but again, improved some of his tackling skills, of course, this year. And he's about to be 24 when this NFL season starts, so he's definitely older than the other group. So a little more negatives there that splits them up, but pretty much in the same boat. Moving on to the next group of guys, I like Deablo a lot. I'm going to like him at a strong safety that can come up in the box in specifically, if you want to get specific, I would like him in a cover 3 scheme, but it doesn't mean he has to go to a cover 3 scheme. But yeah, he's fantastic. He flies around the field. You know, anytime there was a big play made at Virginia Tech, you knew who it was. You knew it was Deablo. Had a pretty good game against Trevor Lawrence and Clemson there. So he's kind of in the same boat with the other third-round guys. Hamza Nazir-Ladin, interesting prospect here. Wish we'd have saw him full-time this year, you know, from Florida State. A couple years ago, 2018, 2019, I should say, kind of his last full year playing. They actually used him more as a free safety originally, and then they were kind of starting to see this guy's more of a strong safety. Let's put him in the box a little more. That's where he's got the upside. I just really wish we saw more reps there. You know, full thing this year. I wish we saw more reps there because he's definitely a better strong than free safety, even though he probably has more reps at free in his career. But he's pretty good in the box, you know, flying to the ball, knowing where it's going to go. He's got a lot of upside. He's right there with Jamar Johnson in terms of upside from this class. He's right there with them because we just need to see more reps. But he had a problem with tackling as well. He actually had pretty good form up until he had to complete kind of the wrap up. He would let a lot of the time let guys kind of slip right through. If I remember, Travis Etienne was slipping through his tackles like crazy. So there's some things he can work on, but some wow potential in the right position. So that's kind of an upside guy to watch here. Maybe somebody just really trusts their development. They're very confident. Take him to the end of the 3rd round. I'll be okay with that if it's the right team. Darius Washington from TCU, the other split safety. Trevon Moehrig played one side. Darius Washington played the other. Technically, you know, they were moving around spots. You know, it wasn't a true, strong free at times. But I do like Washington better at free safety. He attacks the ball very well in the back end. Wish he had a little more speed for that role, but he does it very well. Really knows how to jump routes, attack the ball. Maybe a little undersized, but a freak athlete, you know, outside, I guess, the 40 speed because he can jump. He could jump. He can jump. He's very quick. So he's a freak athlete in those categories. Around 4th round, James Wiggins, I talked about in the beginning of the video. If he didn't have any injury concerns, you'd be hearing this name a lot more. We'd be talking about him with the top 5 guys for sure. He was fantastic. Cincinnati had themselves a secondary. They had themselves some ball players back there. James Wiggins is fun. He's built like a linebacker, you know, thick, you know, strong build. Freak athlete, but he's a playmaker in the back end. The Cincinnati ran some split safety, some cover 2, where both were kind of free safeties, him and Forrest, in a way. But Wiggins, even though he's built more like a strong or a box guy, you know, he's got natural playmaking ability in the back end. So I like him at free, but I would like him to go to a cover 2 team that kind of plays a little bit split. It's just he's had about 3 injuries that held him out in the past. If it wasn't for that, again, probably be talking about top 5. Damar Hamlin, more and more, I watched him, the more and more I'm thinking about this guy. He's growing on me a lot more. Another guy that was kind of is being listed by people as free safety, but Pittsburgh had two free safeties, it felt like, but at times they would bring Hamlin up in the box, and that is where he shined. He's a very good tackler. He flows to the ball. He wraps up very well. And more and more, I'm liking him more and more. I don't want a team to draft him for free safety. I want him to draft him for strong safety. You could do different things with him there. He's not really built like a strong safety. He's kind of thin, but he can tackle. You know, I don't want that to fool anybody. I think he's a strong safety. I think he can play in the box. He can cover from the slot. Pretty rangy, can tackle. He's not really that rangy and have the greatest playmaking ability in the far back end. Not that he's lacking it, but he's really growing on me. He's really growing on me. Tilano Hafunga from USC. Another guy that's always around the ball. You know, he's definitely a strong safety. You're definitely going to put him in the box. You know, he wows where he's always around the ball making plays, I guess. But anything other than that, you know, traits-wise, coverage-wise, it's just a little underwhelming. You know, we thought of him as a much higher grade before we actually got into it. But he is, he's a high motor guy. You just wish he had more speed as well. Talk about Sean Davis from Florida. Can play free or strong. I like him at free. I love the way he tracks the ball on the back end. Kind of another guy that's always run the ball, but more so in coverage. So that's kind of a sneaky guy here in the fifth round. Tyree Gillespie, from Missouri. Tough to figure out where to put this guy. That's my problem with him. He's got some really good moments on tape. I think a lot of people have him ranked higher because he's got some good play when he's making tackles, sometimes his angles are pretty bad. He'll come up too hard. And he has some good pass breakups in the back end. It's just tough to say what he is. People are listening at free safety. He doesn't make enough plays back there. He doesn't wow like the other free safeties in this class. Is his angles good enough for strong? Is he, he can tackle, but I just don't know where to put this guy really. A team will have a plan for him. It's just tough to say, yes, he's a for sure free safety. He's solid there, or he's for sure a strong safety. He's solid there. He's got work to do at both. I'm thinking more of a free safety, but not enough of a playmaker back there. Dark Forest, I like more at strong safety, but they played more of a split role where they had to cover the boundaries quite a bit. But a freak athlete. These Cincinnati safeties were built, and they're playmakers, but he's a little better coming downhill, so I like him at strong safety. Could play in the box a little bit. And Jacoby Stevens is just purely a box guy from LSU. People familiar with him, I think what was around him was better, but he has those downhill moments in the box. So there's a couple more guys like that. Just a lot of those guys that didn't rank are lacking in athleticism. I'm not a big fan. A lot of people are ranking Caden Stearns from Texas, who's a free safety, pretty high. Freak athlete in terms of testing. He just never showed me that on the field. He's a very, very, very conservative free safety, and I don't like conservative free safeties. I don't know. So I don't really get what the hype on him was. And again, there's a group of other guys that are bigger names that could play, but they're really lacking in the speed department or the traits department, athletic traits. But there's a pretty good group of guys here. Some guys with some upside. Some guys, if they stay healthy, they're going to be pretty special. So again, we'll have more rankings in that spreadsheet, my final rankings that I'll release on Twitter with it's going to have an insane amount of players ranked on there. So I release it every year. So make sure you follow our Twitter to get that link a couple days before the draft comes out or starts. Yeah, that's it for the position rankings. There's a playlist full of all of them. Going to do a big board at one point here. We're getting real close to the draft, so I got to get going. But we got a lot of exciting content I'm pumped for to make here. Some interesting things. We'll have you updated on what's to come on our Twitter. So another reason to follow that. Subscribe, smash that like button. Be much, much appreciated. It's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.